Hello and welcome to this video, guys. So as you guys have seen on the title of this video, this is the Selfbuiltsystems API AI thesis. Now, this is stuff that we do with our existing clients, and you guys will be able to see some of our processes and protocols, and also everything that we basically go through from phase 1 to phase 4 to phase 5. There are different things that we will be doing, when we are identifying a specific project, how we make decisions whether we get involved with the project or not, and also obviously so you guys can see like track record stuff that we've worked on, our thesis points, and so that you guys at the end of this video can also learn, not just learn from this, but take this and go and apply this, somewhere in your business. However, we obviously specifically just focus on technology oriented companies and creator-based brands. There are few other companies that we have got involved with over the years, but I am going to obviously show you guys what that looks like. And again, with the main purpose of this video is to provide as much value as I can to you guys, and just share some cool stuff with you. So let's get to it. So as you guys can see here, this is called the Selfbuiltsystems API thesis. Now, I have a very cool quote here from Napoleon, and Napoleon is a character which I study a lot, and it reads here that there are only two powers in the world, the sword and the mind. And in the long run, the sword is always beaten by the mind. Now, whether you love Napoleon or hate Napoleon, that is a conversation for another day. But at the end of the day, let's quickly go through some of our case studies and stuff here so we can get to the point. So you guys know that Timon is one of my business partners. We have built something called the Gifted Academy together. And what we have done throughout this process is that obviously working hand in hand with Timon too on the call it the performance side of his own brand and everything that we've been doing there. So we technically went from, working together, building the Timon Creek brand from 619 followers technically to over 2.5 mil in 12 months. And now he's reached like 2.7. And if I'm not mistaken, it's like 3 million across different platforms. Guys can go obviously check out all that stuff that we've been doing there. And Timon's a really good guy. So you guys can go check out his work and stuff too. So long story short, hypergrowth protocol for Selfbuiltsystems. Now, this is basically backed off of our processes, like I've mentioned. What we would do, what I would do with the team, how we would look at certain projects, how we would approach them, and our whole thinking process, in the thesis format. So to consistently produce results like we do, it's a dynamic process. This is also a dynamic document, meaning that it is a process or a protocol that always gets updated with new tech, as we have seen the fast evolution of technology, especially stuff like AI. So let's get right to it. These are some of the companies, obviously, that you guys can go and check out. Some of the companies that trust us, that we've worked with, and that we are in partnership with. And basically, to break down the first case study here, just so you guys can understand, where all of this stuff is coming from. Now, we've worked with companies from agencies to insurance to telecom to different sorts of SaaS verticals in the technology space. And this is one of our recent case studies. The guys from V8 Media, Jean-Ray and Vikas, they're really two fantastic, excellent marketers. And they have built a very, very successful e-commerce marketing agency. And they've won multiple awards for the work that they've done. I mean, they've generated more than $1 billion in revenue and stuff that they've been doing in the last 5 to 6 years. So you could definitely go check out their work. I highly recommend them to any one of our clients or a person that crossed my path. You want to go do some e-com stuff. But anyways, so we helped them basically. What did we help them with? We helped them uncover their current bottlenecks in terms of, because they were growing fast in terms of, in their internal company. So themselves obviously will face different problems throughout this process. And what we've noticed when we were in conversation and we were unpacking a lot of different things is that, they were growing very fast, but they had a big sales or process oriented problem. Now, that sales process oriented problem obviously is because, you can't always be aware of all the things that are going on in the company. And many times you need like what we call fresh eyes from the outside to be able to give you a different perspective in terms of, how you are already growing the company. We're not there to tell you how to run your company or to show you how to make money. We're just there to optimize for capital efficiency. That is what we do. So looking at terms of this is what we basically helped them with is there was a few bottlenecks, like I said, that we identified. We helped them solve that. And also they did their record month in sales in 30 days of us basically working with them. So Soul Invest is a current project that we are working with hand in hand. They are a investment company basically positioned in Europe. Now, there's a bunch of stuff that we're doing there, but to outline a few things is that they have 24 successful projects all around the world, invested in over 7 different countries, and we help them firstly redesign like a holistic funnel approach. And then obviously, also help facilitate some international trade stuff between Europe and Africa and stuff like that that's happening there. And also, obviously, there are many different ongoing, things inside of the company, which we are helping with, which we will be able to obviously talk about in the future when results and stuff are due. And also there's a bunch of stuff that's under NDA. So Timon, I mentioned Timon, a lot of the stuff and the work that we've done, obviously his own brand went from a low 5-figure to 6-figure to 7-figure run rate in terms of building an internet business kind of thing. So their obviously business models are different. So like I said, I co-founded Gifted with Timon, and there's been a few different things that we've obviously been working on throughout this process. Now, Shugi is a very interesting project. When we first obviously crossed paths with it, now that Shugi Luxury Dating, it is a luxury dating app positioned in Europe. And what we helped them with was there's a lot of go-to-market stuff, firstly, that we had to unpack there. And basically optimizing customer journey, UX, as you guys can see here, also established product market fit. And like I said, going from GTM strategy to product market fit to different like facilitations of really understanding who the how to approach the messaging with the actual customer avatar, which they were actually serving. There was many different iterations which we had to go through on a product market fit process. And I will probably make another video on product market fit protocol, because we have a separate protocol just for product market fit, which is something to discuss in another day. You guys can let me know in the comment section down below if you guys want me to unpack that. So what happened is that we successfully achieved 1,000 active users, and basically it was we didn't hit 4 months, but it was like a 3-month period in terms of the growth and stuff that they were doing. And they have an evaluation of over 40 million. There's been some conversations that's been held internally with brands like Playboy, also had some conversations with Booking.com on different iterations for the brand, for future growth stuff. But that's for another time. So modular dating, one of the most recent projects that we got involved with. And this is a super interesting project because modular dating is actually like the Shopify of the dating industry, and it's the facilitation of building different dating products with the technology that obviously already exists. And there's a lot of stuff that is in the runway there. It's a really early stage tech startup, and there's a lot of potential there, and that's why I decided to give a lot of my energy there. I also got placed as CRO in modular dating. So that's one of the biggest projects that we are currently working on. And yeah, there was a full brand development. We're working on different pitch deck facilitations now, where we're actively actually raising some money throughout this process. And MVP, from a standpoint from product market fit to MVP kind of like relationship, there are so many things that we're working on there. I mean, it won't even do it justice if I have to put down the bullet points and stuff on here. But we recently successfully had a launch for a new offer at the TESS conference in Prague, which is one of the biggest dating conferences in the world. So Dr. Kat, she's one of my favorite doctor ladies. She is an MOS Moss laser surgeon, and she's based in Florida in the US. And we help them basically with a few things, from basically helping them build a new cold-friendly offer to landing pages from scratch, and currently optimizing their full funnel from a holistic approach again, giving them a lot more consistency from like ad to landing page to full funnel approach. And then we obviously also looked in terms of like the CRO component, when we redesigned a bunch of their, so not just from the landing page perspective, but many other things throughout the whole business. And also we developed video sales letters and stuff like that, which they're still running right now. And you guys can go and check out all of that kind of stuff that we did there. And they also did their record month when we were basically, actively working together on a few things, as it's still an ongoing project, but this was from 2023 in terms of the stuff that we're doing there. And she won the best award for being the best doctor in Florida. So that's also pretty cool. Anyways, Wamley, also a really great company. You guys can go and check them out. They won the award for being the best tech startup in South Africa in 2023. Really great people. Here's the head marketer called Gideon. We worked on a few things on the sales process oriented stuff that happened there. And then SA Innovation Summit, one of our recent case studies where they reached their record month in terms of like a yearly record, basically, because they had a target. We obviously exceeded that target. And I mean, I probably might unpack that a little bit deeper, what that specific target was, but just so you know, we exceeded the target. So a full analysis, basically what we did here, and I'm going to break it down a little bit later in terms of what that actually looks like on the CRO component, I guess. So for full analysis on the whole company, we basically started with looking at the data, looking at their data, putting it into a black box kind of effect, and then moving over to organizational design. There was a few major kind of shifts and changes which we needed to make there. I call it something departmental consulting, and I don't really like this consulting word, but it is what it is. What happened there in terms of really looking at the full organizational structure, how we actually moved and positioned, and the decisions that were made for capital efficiency at the end of the day. So operational efficiency, and at the end of the day, what happened is they achieved a 30x on their ROAS, basically throughout all the work and all the optimization that we were doing. And you guys can see here, basically we hit the 2.3 million in obviously a record year for them. Toast, one of our earliest clients and stuff that we've worked with, he's from France. Now he is a day trader, and now he runs a successful firm actually in France, which has been pretty cool to see, his growth and evolution of the stuff that he's also doing. But we basically helped them collect over 100K on their bottom line in the first 3 months of working with them. Now they already had processes going and stuff. They were already making money. We didn't need to show them, how to do this or that. It's like really offer positioning, how the selling of what they were doing is, received in the market, and how could we, squeeze more juice out of the lemon in terms of understanding some low-hanging fruits and stuff that they were really missing. So those are some of the things that we engage with there. Then we're going to look at Think Tank. It's also still an ongoing project. They're an IT company, and we basically help them let's just actually go through this. So there was two offers, basically reconstructed two offers. One was called the TAP. You guys can maybe go and check out the TAP program here, a talent acceleration program. And then they had their main Think Tank page. And so basically there was a full funnel CRO. And then we had optimization on the sales process, and also obviously trained their sales team to optimize the sales process, and then basically train some media buying into their internal processes. So we can look here at Simone. She went from just being a person that had this big idea to become this this fitness icon, and she has achieved that basically through helping women basically find their kind of like their feminine energy, that kind of thing. But she's now a celebrity personal trainer. She had big dreams, and she's pretty much there in my opinion, but she's still working on even bigger ones. She's got great stuff. You guys can go check out her stuff. And she's doing really well now in terms of, what we helped her with. We completely, helped her rebuild her funnel structure in terms of her offering as well. And we helped her integrate some AI into her delivery process, and hired and trade some outbound prospecting, SDRs on that perspective, and also ramped them into MDRs and SDR perspective. And there's obviously still stuff that's ongoing there, but she's doing very well for herself. Now, let's quickly hop into my backstory. Who am I? For context, my name is Jean-Jacques Janssen van Rensburg. I've been in the growth space basically since 2020. And I've basically been obsessing over like AI, systemization, and consumer psychology. Now, I'm not the person that's going to tell you I've been in AI for like 20 years and I've been studying it every single day for my life. However, I really do have a deep understanding about the technology, and really understand, the implications that are, at our forefront. Every single day, we're getting closer to some really weird stuff. So anyways, I love consumer psychology, stuff like that. And in 2020, I decided to drop out of business school, basically, whilst I was studying and learning from. So there was traditional studying and learning, and then there was the external part where I was going out of my way, doing all sorts of stuff like modeling, videography, stuff like that, to pay the bills, to go and learn from other people that were actually running $1 million companies. That's basically what happened with me, because I realized that the traditional path wasn't for me. I'm that person that, when I get into a sense of awareness, that I would want to take action as fast as I can, just based about understanding, yourself, learning more about yourself, and learning more about the world. But that's also a conversation for another time. So what happened is I just decided to burn the boats. I decided to go all in on building self-built systems and everything that we do. I learned a multitude of things, including the importance and the understanding of the role of AI in the metaverse, energy innovation, and last but not least, basically going from nuclear power, turning matter into energy, and energy transferring technology, aka the crypto. Short-term energy prices increase and long-term decrease. So you guys can go check out more about that. I put a reference in here for you guys to go and see where all this stuff is coming from. And then also now, for an example, new tech and creativity is required to get efficiency during stressful times. That is where we are right now. That's what we're observing all around the world. And today, as I'm recording this video, it is the election day. So there's a bunch of stuff that's going to be happening right now. But all of this basically means that, there is entrepreneurs will be required to create new technologies and to apply the pressure in terms of that, growth. So that's what we're basically obviously just looking at there. So over the past couple of years, we've worked with more than 30 plus brands and including numerous top dogs in their respective niches. So thought leaders like technology companies and stuff like that. A lot of industry leaders, millionaires. Basically, first ever investment company that we got involved with right now is the guys from Solo Invest, and some of the biggest players in the online space has asked us to basically advise on specific campaigns. As I've mentioned, creator-based technology is where we focus, but a large, percentage of these people that we're working with, we're still under NDA for specific details. People like this, obviously we're talking about Timon, Solo Invest, Shuggy, luxury dating. We got modular dating, Creation Capital, Wamley, Manscaped. There's some few things we did like 2 years ago with them, and also Omni in the Netherlands, and then St. Petersburg Skin and Laser. And you got obviously, you can read up about all those other people. So where does this basically bring us? Because this video is not about me. However, it is about getting us to understand how we can actually take all this stuff and go and apply it in a physical perspective. Now, for the Selfbuilt Systems API thesis, what is very important here is that I want to start with what is an API. Okay, so it's a set functions and procedures allowing the creation of an application that accesses the features or data of an operating system, application, or other service. That is what we're looking at here, right? Now, if we move on here, where we are right now, this is basically where I want to start, okay, with an introduction to what I call the quantum leap into the next level or into your next level. So we have to have a quick overview of what's happening in the world right now. I've already mentioned it's the election day today. And, obviously we got Mr. Elon Musk running the show, on some sides, but that's a conversation for another time. Then we got obviously the hyper growth protocol. Part 1 is where we want to start the current market core API thesis. Long term, the goal for anyone running a service or a SaaS or a tech or whatever the business might be is obviously to create a fuck ton of free cash flow. That is what we're looking at there. And by now, obviously, you should have expanded into the internet. If you're not leveraging the internet, obviously you should be, because it's a technology. So that, there are things that we're going to be going through. You might know of them, you might not know of them, but just obviously sit with me because it will make a lot of sense. Now, you leverage these things obviously to scale on different components, and we're really pushing towards something called escape velocity, obviously for the founder, which is anywhere around 3 to 5 million, and that's dollar. Because once you reach that point, based on some economic models, then you can obviously go ahead and do with it what you want in terms of putting your money, getting your money to work for you, and doing whatever you want with your time. And now we're even getting closer towards this, general perspective where Sam Altman is actually backing UBI, but we will get there. So anyways, so the first stepping stone is to getting to 6 figures technically, right? That is like where some people will say like, oh, you've made it, or that kind of talk. Like it's been said, business in general is like a game. Once you hit 6 figures, the target always keeps moving. You want to get better at what you're doing. So this is where we are. This is what we call the heat. So I've been, through this process multiple times with different projects, and I'm going to obviously share more references with that with you guys. But here's the reality check. If your goal is achieving the multiple, basically 6 to 7 to 8 figures in revenue multiples, you're going to have to push the throttle hard. That's the reality. And right now we are in the AI revolution. And what does this even mean, Jay? Now, I've been making videos and stuff about AI for quite some time right now. But however, what you need to understand is how things are shifting in the business perspective. Whether you're super corporate or not, you have to understand these things. So here we have something called, like, I call it a space cowboy, but really it's a CRO, or call it another word for it will be Chief AI Officer. And recently you've seen this word CRO also pop up, which means Chief Revenue Officer, but it's somewhat the same thing when it's someone working on a specific thing. So if your goal is to be the AI guy in your business or the AI girl in your business, what it means that that is a new role that's obviously being created in, in the business. And what this specifically then leads to is that that person is like an evolutionary hunter that's aware, number one, of the new world landscape and basically its development, how fast it's moving. And they also have a very deep understanding about the technology, and they know how to align themselves with the technology. And they are masters at, number one, linguistic communication, because if you have a deeper understanding about AI and about artificial intelligence in general, you will then have, a path of getting the understanding of what linguistic communication actually means. So it's basically being able to articulate ideas from a human, okay, to a machine. And that's where we're going, right? It's not AI that's going to replace people. It is the human that is using the AI that will replace the human that is not using the AI, simply because of the vast capacities and what AI allows you to do. Moving on, it's the ultimate combination of the new world. And each company will need an evolutionary hunter, aka CAO, a chief AI officer, obviously right now in the new world. Now, let's quickly look at a few things here based on some data. In 2023, I wrote about the shrinking of tech teams, specifically focused on sales and marketing, okay? And we've also seen that on the development side. So, our engineering. So let's quickly see about what we're looking at here. So these data points, you guys can go and check them out too. I actually put them here in terms of, I made a note, but I clicked the, the viewing thing so you guys can go and see where this data actually comes from. But this is what it did from the Krata data, and 2024 Q1 is what we're seeing, the shrinking of the tech teams. There's also multiple different articles posted and many different publications that are vetted. So we've now reached the phase of bounded or I call it the phase of bounded rationality. Now, what this means is for each actor in a system, basically it is determined by the information, incentives and disincentives, goals, stressors and constraints, basically impinging on the actor. Again, so may or may not lead to decisions that further the welfare of the system as a whole. So if they don't have new input in the actions, okay, like into the same system, you won't improve the system performance. That's basically what we're looking at. So what you want to make is differences in redesigning the system to improve the information, incentives, disincentives, goals, stressors, and constraints that it might have, the effects on the specific actors. And that is also what we call self-built systems. Now, I say that with a little laughing kind of joke because, it might seem massively overcomplicated, but at the end of the day, you need systems. You need systems to evolve. And the better your systems, the better you can operate with inside of the system and the more leverage you can actually deploy. So again, just moving forward here, that what is written, as I said here, is there would be a need to think about the good of other people. There would be no need to think about the good of other people or about the operations or the complex feedback systems. And no wonder Adam Smith's model had such a strong appeal for 200 years. Now, unfortunately, basically, the world persists with multiple examples of people acting rational in the short term based on their interests, okay, and producing aggregate results that no one likes on some economic incentive, right? Tourists flock to places like Waikiki or Zermatt and then complain that those places have been ruined by the tourists. Farmers produce surplus of wheat, butter, or cheese, and prices plummet. Fishermen basically overfish and destroy their own livelihoods, and corporations collectively make investment decisions that cause business cycle downturns. Poor people basically have more babies than they can support. There's many other different examples of that. But anyways, why? The good question is why? So because of what World Bank economist Herman Daly calls the invisible foot, and what Nobel Prize winning economist Herbert Simon calls the bounded rationality. So you guys can see basically this data signaling process. I'm not going to walk through this, not that important for now. But anyway, so bounded rationality means that people make quite reasonable decisions based on the information that they have, but they don't have perfect information. So that is the thing, okay? So let's quickly look in terms of some trends here. So now, companies and investors are waking up and demanding basically capital efficiency in the current market trends, right? So investors are demanding cash flow and efficient growth, capital efficiency. The high PE ratios and earnings are no longer valid at 500x revenue. So markets are contracting and debt bubbles are deleveraging. There is a huge demand for capital efficiency. Everywhere on the news, every analyst is pinning over efficient growth. Now, we will also obviously see what's going to happen after today, but however, I don't think that they know the magnitude, obviously, of the situation. So some businesses didn't create profit at the unit level and were somehow able to scale to billions in basically evaluations. And now the chickens are coming home and there are lots of consequences to that. So current technology shifts and what we're looking at here is what I call the revenge of the nerds. And how do I break this down to make this as simple terms? Is that, the rise of AI and artificial intelligence is creating a lot of superheroes in the realm of being able to build something, moving away from the Chad into the Johnny. So that is basically where we are. So the rise of artificial intelligence, you have and I'm not going to spin too much wheels here, but obviously you know about AI, and robotics for human collaborations. This is an important point. So the rise of AI as a service, okay, for platforms will enable humans to partner with AI in every aspect of their work at every level and every industry, okay? And Reid Hoffman, founder of LinkedIn, predicts by 2028, every profession will have an AI co-pilot. Whatever you want to call it, AI agent, AI co-pilot, there are so many buzzwords for this, but I would just Google it if I was you. I would just put it in, watch a video, and you will see what I'm talking about if you've never heard about it. So now, basically, at the same time, hundreds of robots are expected to flourish in the decades ahead. And whether fully autonomous driving, GPT-4 or GPT-5 or whatever the situation might be, we have seen what has recently, what Elon has been pushing in terms of different things. And again, also, whether you love or like Elon, it's not really the point, but you have to pay attention to technology. So, because you cannot fight it, you can only understand its capabilities and how you can align with it. So ultra low costs and gigabyte connectivity is a very, very important point. And then also Web3, metaverse, transforming retail, education, and human interactions, also another very important point. So before jumping into exactly how you can utilize this tech and identifying technologies, trends to stay basically ahead of your competition, I must spend a minute in talking about the historical evolution of the market and its current symptoms. Right now, we have high inflation and market stress. High inflation is not necessarily a bad thing. And again, I am not really here to debate about that. However, when this happens, everything gets more expensive and entrepreneurs are required to recruit and apply new technologies or invent new technologies to bring about new businesses that drives costs down for goods, services, so that the populations can thrive. And I would highly recommend checking out Kathy Wood, badass lady, read her arc thesis basically. And then from here, we're looking at in terms of what this actually looks like on a chart, right? This is the US M1 money supply. Now, this is the US M2 money supply, and it's supposed to say update, but you get the point. So anyways, so US M1 money supply, US M2 money supply, what we're looking at here is obviously what it looks like if people keep printing precious paper, okay? It's not a fantastic view of things. If you view this through an economic lens, you will understand. Current market thesis in an AMD cycle, and we're seeing this all over the place. You're seeing this with crypto, being caught in an AMD cycle, and also obviously in terms of this, which we just went through here, right? Now, technologies will be used to handle stress, and you cannot fight technology, and there is no point in even trying. And this means that there are new businesses popping up everywhere, and they will need distribution strategies, basically. Strategies that work to make those businesses profitable. So let's look at a few things here of the trends that are evolving, where we were and where we are right now and where we're moving, that kind of stuff. So AI normalization and mass adoption in many areas of life. The era of copy and paste apps are basically upon us. Speed to market is literally closing in at zero. And then you have paid traffic is infinitely more effective than manual outbound prospecting. GPTs, basically wrappers. GPT wrappers are being used for many AI-driven companies using, ChatGPT as a wrapper and building all sorts of different product. Video sales letters are efficiently more proficient than outbound prospecting, old school sales, and also understanding that it's no longer about how effective you can be at aggressive sales. It's how effective you can be at bringing people to you, because we have also now exited the attention economy. It's still important. We are still somewhat in the attention economy, but it is now moving more towards the trust economy, which I will speak about a little bit more. And that's why something like a video sales letter is highly super important. And then evolution of a personal brand. Basically, it's evolving from newfound edge, basically for digital leverage, which personal branding has been around for quite some time. But this whole focus on creator-led marketing is obviously where things are at right now. And again, which is why we have moved from having platforms like the giants, the apps, those things got built. They had all the power. And then we moved over to the creator, or rather, we are now at the creator, where the platforms have now realized that the creators are the powerful ones. And that's why the creator economy is where it is right now. Influencer this, influencer that. And at the end of the day, that all leads towards a certain trust component or status delta in the market. So we have, again, like I've said, entered the trust economy. And also for your own reference, I have created like a 40-minute long video here where you can go and see how we specifically built the Team on Quick brand. It is a system that I broke down, showing you guys from a B2B and a B2C perspective. Again, advent of small specialized teams is what I have been talking about. But anyways, let's quickly move over here. What is happening from, let's look at it from a market perspective. In 2018, it was way too easy to make a fortune with bad drop shipping products and Facebook ads and stuff like that. In 2020, CPMs dropped and people stayed at home. And obviously it was like free capital. People needed to spend money on stuff, which was obviously literally thrown out of the window in the e-com boom. Now in 2021, VCs were throwing money around and funding any idea. Okay, no matter how irrelevant, as long as you could dance your name correctly a few times, you obviously got some capital. Now in 2022, TikTok ads started working really awesome, and you were looking at like numbers like Facebook in 2018 and ever improving algorithms. In 2023, the revolution of AI, and it basically took the world by storm, leaving basically us for a mass adoption of new technology and people having to keep up with the evolution, and obviously creating all sorts of new problems and opportunities, right? And entrepreneurs who are learning how to communicate with the technology, like I said, those are the ones who are most leveraging it right now. They are ahead. They are getting ahead faster, or they are destroying their competition. So I've mentioned the era of copy and paste apps again. So the age of the creator-led marketing is where we are. Between 2024 and 2025, what I'm like seeing and where things are going is that such a big focus on trust in the trust economy with creator-led marketing. All companies, and I've said this, if not a year or 2 years ago, I can't even remember, but I did make a YouTube video about this. All companies will need a domain-specific creator because of this. CPMs are going up, and what you do is when you have a specific domain creator, CPMs go down in the long, well, not CPMs, somewhat has an effect on CPM, but cost per acquisition goes down in the long term. And again, your business becomes more profitable, you have more trust, your business becomes more profitable. So understanding the current market structure, why I was speaking about the AMD cycle. Now, market cycle is it's commonly distributed in 4 stages. You get the accumulation. Again, you have the early adoption and the buildup of momentum, and then you get accumulation, manipulation, and distribution. But it is also viewed as accumulation, basically expansion, which is mass adoption and scale, and then you get the peak, which is the tipping point where early adopters get out, right? And there's also some different terms for it if people were familiar with some trading words and terms. But anyways. And recession, we have a mass dropout, okay? Now that's looking from a market perspective from 2 different ways. Now, the stages recur throughout the economic history. It's frequent, basically the frequency and the magnitude are dependent upon economic variables, interest rates, basically employment rates, and etc. So let's talk about the current situation in the Q3 and the Q4 of 2024. Massive layoffs across the tech industry, a full-blown war, which was obviously still happened between Russia and Ukraine, Israel, Hamas kind of situation. And then also you have the sanctions on Russia, and then you have miscellaneous and bad capital efficiency from previous years. And also the consumer sentiment index is reaching a all-time lows, and basically the US presidential election, as I've mentioned. So you guys can pull up all this data sources if you guys want to just pause the video, see where they come from, which is going to be important for you. Now, recession, war, inflation, and lower purchasing power are stressing almost everyone, and you're literally forced to adapt. And if you don't, you will not survive. It is literally survival of the fittest. So you have one of two options. You can watch from the sidelines, not knowing what lever to pull, and working completely capital inefficient, leading your business slowly in a decline, and you're not even able to keep up to like the evolution of AI. I mean, look, I know some people that have teams of 30, 40 people that are just working on AI, and they even are having a hard time catching up. So if you're not even deploying like 1 hour of AI a day, then you're already behind, okay? So you want to seize this opportunity, and you basically want to cut the fat in your business, and you want to boost both revenue and profitability by adapting, innovating, and leveraging new technology like AI as for one example, but there are many other sets of leverage which you can use better in my opinion. So let's basically look at this. So from the economic situation, while you're outpacing your competition to dominate your market, so now and in the future, you're reaching, so that you can reach escape velocity as the founder, which I mentioned, right? So let's quickly look at the core thesis from from idea to system to empire. Now, to effectively support technology, founders and other successful top 1% brands on their journey from idea development phase to scaling their businesses, we have established a robust and proven protocol, and our approach is designed to cater to both bootstrapped and funded startups, ensuring that each company receives a tailored assistance that aligns with its unique needs and goals. So this always starts off with obviously a conversation. Literally a conversation, which then leads to protocols, right? So a conversation is about the idea development, where we are, where it wants to go, future kind of reference in terms of this. And as I have been growing as a person, and as we have been growing as a person, I've also, we don't try to onboard a gazillion projects at once, because we know how much time, effort, energy, and efficiency is required to actually scale something, okay? To actually get the needle moving. So in this initial phase, we focus on going from idea to viable business model and actually making sure that the thing makes money. That's what we're looking at. So we have market research validation, we have business model development, prototyping and MVP creation, strategic road mapping. Before that, we might even, if it's a tech-specific company, we might even talk about specific product market fit protocols. But yeah, that's again a conversation for another time. Again, we're gonna then look at capital allocation and growth strategies. So in addition to operational support, we excel in advancing our capital allocation strategies. We basically understand the critical importance of deploying resources and effectively to maximize growth potential. Our consulting services simply include the following. We have investment analysis, we have growth acceleration, and by combining our extensive experience with tailored approach, we empower technology founders to navigate the complexities of growth and scale their business more efficiently. Our commitment to fostering innovation and excellence positions us as a valuable partner in the entrepreneurial journey. So we're going to look at something which we call leveraging BOS systems and something which we call Sentinel AGI. Now, we haven't cracked AGI, by the way. It's just what we call something in Selfbuilt Systems, Sentinel AGI. So please just understand that. We go from basically, when you go from scaling from 6 to 7 figures, in yearly revenue, there are current, things that you have to understand about the market structure, meaning creating your own market and leveraging a blue ocean strategy. Now, if you've never read that book, Blue Ocean Strategy, I highly recommend you reading that book. What you want ideally is you want to be this blue guy here, okay, where you're actively going to go out right now and you're going to go and create a market. If you're effective at doing this, again, you then also tick the box at bringing people to you, where you no longer have to so much go out of your way to get in front of other people. But there are ways on how we obviously achieve that and getting there, right? So let's quickly just go through this here. So the Blue Ocean Strategy is a simultaneous pursuit of differentiation and low cost to open up a new market space and create a new demand. It is about creating and capturing unconstructed, basically uncontested market space, capturing a specific segment of the market, and thereby making the competition irrelevant. That's why I said going from this guy here that's fishing in a pond where everyone's trying to fish, you really want to identify a specific segment of a market where you can either be first to market, okay, which is becoming a lot harder right now, or you're going to create that market. Now, it's based on the view of the market. Boundaries and industry structure are not basically a given and can be reconstructed by the actions and beliefs of industry players. So let me rephrase that. It is based on the view of the market boundaries and industry structure and are not given and can be reconstructed by actions and beliefs of industry players. Now, meaning that the best companies, they go out and they create a market. So how can you create a market on your own? By defining the market, research won't help you with that. However, you need to solve for your value hypothesis, which is your product market fit, and then solve for your growth hypothesis, which is your scale. Now, if I zoom in here real quick, which we have here is we have the problem solution fit, then you have the product market fit, and then you have the scale. Okay, now there are different ways to break that down. Now you need to align the resonance of your channel with your communicated value position, or what is also known as a USP, in a way to avoid basically revenue divergence or roller coasters. Okay, you then need to acquire more and more customers that are less aware and interested in order to reach scale. So the old way of reaching product market fit was to simply go ahead and we just sell what people buy. Now, people would choose products based on gut instincts and use a genetic phrases for marketing, or even worse, they would simply steal a USP, value hypothesis, or their competition, or slap their own branding on it, kind of stuff like that. See it all the time. What you want to obviously do is this. You want to build things that are useful. So what they actually want, right? So there's going to be more on this later, and there are two ways to go about this. The two data streams needed to build something useful include, number one is environmental data, and what is in the realm of the possibilities, current technologies, trends, active forces, and winds blowing in the environment. And number two is customer data. So this is activities which the customer is trying to do, or the path that they are on, and specific forces acting against them. Now you can see this here in this visual. So firstly, which is why it was so easily back in the days to do solid numbers with the same product, because buying media on different channels was cheap and you could do it, profitable with basic product market fit. And ad creators were stupid simple to run, and market giants had leading positions because they were first to market, not because they had cutting edge advertising strategies. Now, if we look at the market today, as described above, we are in a unique circumstances with fundamental shifts in consumer behavior and other issues that arisen as a result of iOS 14. The loss of data due to tracking means that costs are rising because we now have to spend more to get reliable data. And last but not least, we have reached a certain level of market saturation because of the amount of advertisers reached a pinnacle, and the consumers were basically bombarded by an oversupply of offers and products, and they built what you call banner blindness, and got more resistant to certain types of advertising. And also another really strong data piece here is that something we're not ready for, but it is already here. So the cost to get a customer through sales and marketing is up by 108%. Now, this is looking at some data back from like 2016 and stuff like that. So, and it's going to get worse because we have no new marketing channels since 2016, as we refer back to the TikTok. Okay. So everyone flooded them. And right now with the evolution of AI will flood the channels. You already see it happening. Okay. You can spend $0.43 and you can create AI related content for cheap. Okay. And it's everywhere. So we provide as much value for free as possible, and that's what you should be focusing on, okay? It sounds crazy, but costs only are going up. 55.2% for getting customers via free product that's where, things are channeling, and you have a 39.8% for those who convert via video and podcasts. So you want to invest in free, and you want to invest in yourself, creator economy. I hope that's making sense right now. The former blue ocean turns into a red ocean. For example, our client and good friend, basically, Timon, recently said that he attributes a lot of his success to the right timing and positioning back in 2022, meaning that he had first movers advantage in the market, and basically a really unique value proposition that 97% of people really want, which we're looking at in terms of like, I will help you build personal brand, creator-led brand, influencer brand, and basically help you make 10K a month US, right? Now that's a big dream for a lot of people that think that once they reach the 10K, they're just going to kick their feet up. But anyways, that is a positioning there. And got so far ahead of the curve that it is impossible to catch up with him right now. But it also means that it is a trajectory of brand, okay? It would look completely different if it started now in 2023. As we started working together, I mean, even like 2022 was a lot of focus. There was some stuff that we were doing in 2021, but we really got a lot of focus in 2022. And I told them that there will be, kind of like a half-life on this current offer because how good it is and how many people will copy it, and also basically just the evolution of offers like that, usually lasts around 6 to 8 months. So that is just the life cycle and the nature of things and the nature of humans, but ultimately meaning it is almost impossible to achieve success following the same footsteps, at least following the old kind of strategies. So to achieve sustainable success, we have to create our own artificial blue ocean. Now, this leads to lower cost per acquisition, stable performance, and MER at scale, getting more market share and dominating competitors. Now, you might think, but how do I do this in a popular niche with obviously no differentiation possibilities like shoes, fashion, supplements, health, stuff like that? I mean, those are all things that people will always need. Health, wealth, relationships. So we're going to speak about that maybe in the next video, but the answer is basically still product market fit and something that I call the jetpack. You need the SBS jetpack. That's what I call it. Okay. So let me explain, because these are the secret strategies that only the top 1% of growth consultants truly understand and apply. And it is a truly strong influence for success for case studies we have produced and the stuff that you've seen above. So our goal is to artificially create a blue ocean, which sets us apart from competition, makes us independent of market situations, and attracts our ideal customer, as I mentioned with the Team 1 case study above. So the secret is in finding a message that resonates with your customers. Now, figure 1 is a message with the wrong wavelength. As you can see that there, it achieves no resonance in the market. And figure number 2 is a message with a wavelength, as your customers will obviously, have that market message resonance. That's what you're really shooting for. So again, what happens is that you introduce product market fit with basic product market fit in a similar way as everyone else does it. And there's a delta between the market and what they really want and the message that you're broadcasting to them. Meaning you never really get the resonance that you need in the market, and you miss a high amplitude or a wavelength, which means that you end up running out of money. Usually what happens. Now, how do you think we were able to help, for example, Timon do this, obviously going through those processes because we understood all these things, right? Now, he's, again, like I'm not sure if I mentioned this, but he's hit 3 million across different platforms right now. And you're in this position where you somehow manage to generate your initial traction, okay? Your revenue is slowly building up. You're ready to scale maybe past 6 figures, 7 figures, 8 figures a year alone. And, you're profitable, but you're seeking for new ways. You're looking for new strategies or a new edge and the potential of creating your own blue ocean and product market fit 2.0. So solving for product market fit and creating millions of dollars in cash and in equity value out of thin air is no small task. In physics, there is something called the law of conservation. And the law of conservation of energy that basically states energy can neither be created or destroyed. It can only be transferred. This can be applied to this environment too. So if you don't already have a ton of capital, stored energy, you will be exerting your calories in basically in teams or a team's calories for your customer's capital. Okay. So the best way to explain this is in the beginning, you need to use your own calories. You exchange them for someone else's capital. You make enough capital, and then you start exchanging other people's calories. Obviously you get the point. If you have capital, you can charge people without capital to basically extend their calories to go through this process. However, you should still stay involved in the trenches. It will be a lot of work for anyone going through the process, but it is more efficient and effective way to do it and for you to actually reach something which we call product market fit 2.0. So by combining the right positioning with the branding of the brand and meeting the needs and the desires of the market, we can create a unique access channel which you can profitably scale. So to drive a point home, Here is what happens over time when you try to apply scale in the markets. You have basic product market fit, and then you have the product market fit 2.0, which I call the jetpack, which there is no ceiling, okay? You usually hit the ceiling, but with the jetpack, you don't hit a ceiling because you keep creating. So what you will understand by now is that in order to create a blue ocean in a red ocean, you need to have a very deep understanding of the market and the ability to identify opportunities that others have overlooked. But how we can identify these opportunities is now, for example, the question, right? So the answer lies in the data. Now, to unlock insights into customer behavior, market trends, and industry changes, it can help us through basically looking at data from many different angles, from a qualitative and a qualitative perspective, which we'll get into soon, but you guys can see a little flow there. So traditional market research methods are often inadequate in identifying new opportunities in rapidly changing markets. So this is where AI and machine learning comes in. So I am not going to go over a bunch of stuff about reinforcement learning and AI and stuff like that. However, I do want to give you the scraping of the surface effect when it comes to this. So the first step is obviously to collect your data and to analyze the data. So this can be done through various different methods, such as customer surveys, website analytics, and social media monitoring. Once you have obviously collected the data, we can then use the AI and machine learning algorithms to identify patterns and trends and make predictions about future customer behavior, stuff like that. However, there's a few other things, but that basically just leads down to your analyzing, collecting of the data, analyzing the data, and then into the part two, which is the growth model. What does your growth model look like? So the growth model, or protocol in this case, is a cutting-edge framework designed to drive sustainable growth for SaaS or e-commerce or service-based brands, and mainly around really just focusing on results, over the years and stuff that we've experienced. So working with our team and partners, and obviously many dollars basically spent invested on successful partnerships, D2C brands, service-based brands. At its core, it has built the core foundation of the holistic data mastery and growth strategy and testing programs and full funnel optimization. By leveraging these four key pillars, we can achieve rapid and sustainable growth even in the face of highly competitive marketplace. So the key is focusing on mastering data and leveraging new technologies, basically aligning yourself with technology and embracing the change. By setting up targeted tracking and collecting both qualitative and quantitative data for, it doesn't matter, SaaS, e-commerce, service, or whatever the situation might be, brands can gain a deep understanding of user behavior and consumer psychology. Now, this data can then be used to identify low-hanging fruit and big leverage activities, okay? ROI driving activities, I also like to refer to it. So allowing brands to make data-driven decisions and optimize their funnel for maximum conversion. So the growth strategy component of the model provides brands with a roadmap for a sustainable growth by understanding their target audience and what motivates them to buy brands, and obviously to buy either the brand stuff or to buy from different brands, and can create compelling offers and optimize their branding, UX, UI, copy, resonance, all of that stuff, okay? So in order to test and iterate these strategies, these models include a rapid testing approach with a multi-data-based testing conducted each month. So in this flywheel effect of optimization on your CRV and strategy iteration leads to sustained growth and higher customer lifetime. So it's basically like a compounding effect, right? And you will also see this on the personal branding side, which is also, you guys can go check out the video as I was explaining it there, but it has somewhat of a similar relationship when it comes to that. So phase one is holistic data mastering, as I've mentioned that. So the purpose is to build solid foundations for data-driven decision-making and gain deep insights into future target audience. Outcome is a well-integrated tech stack, comprehensive data analysis, and a thorough understanding of the target audience, which you guys can go see that little process there. So let's quickly dive into the tech stack to look at, obviously what this can look like for you. So many organizations have no data, or basically all their data is flawed. This is due to mistakes in tracking. And I've seen a lot of companies that we work with, their biggest problem many times is active tracking of this data, And therefore, you have to set up targeted tracking to understand exactly how users are behaving. So these are several types of data points which we collect and analyze to get a holistic picture of human behavior and consumer psychology. Again, qualitative and quantitative data. Qualitative data such as KPIs, CRV, AOV, bounce rate. Qualitative data are characteristics like questionnaires, interviews, observations, stuff like that. So there's this tech stack. You can go check it out there, all the tools there. And we have a whole team of data analysts basically just focused on setting up these tools because the data is so obviously incredibly valuable. As soon as tracking has been set up and enough data is available, the qualitative and the quantitative data can then actually be evaluated. And at the same time, having all of these tracking tools set up, it also allows us to build warning systems that trigger as soon as deviation from the target is detected via the data. This enables us to act immediately in an event or unforeseen fluctuations and avoid losses of revenue. So overall, when we look at systems architecture, there are a few things that we will look at as follows. Top-down, bottom-up management and leadership structures. We have current sales processes and cycles in terms of the sales cycle. We have financial systems and teams. We have marketing, advertising, collateral. And then we also have AI infrastructure. Is it there? Is it not? Are people using it? Are they, those kind of questions. So collecting data points and holistic data, which I mentioned, you guys can go basically check out how this process is outlined. However, the most important thing which I want you to understand is that, I literally linked, a Google Tag Manager for Beginners course, which you could go and see there. In here, there's also a GA4 setup there for if you're new to this in terms of, that kind of stuff. And then also collecting, so you're going to go from basically collecting quantitative data visualized is also something that we have an SOP on. You can maybe request it in the comment section down below if you want to see it. I'll send it straight to you. Also, we have MS Clarity kind of set up, Microsoft Clarity, or, there are different sets of tools which you can use there. You have the collecting of the qualitative data, messaging mining, surveying your users and customers or audience, customer interviews, stuff like that. So then we're going to look at the SOP to qualitative data from customer message to mining user surveys, client, stuff like that. Again, I can obviously link it to you. Just ask in the comment section down below and I can send it to you so you can go check it out. And also for understanding low-hanging fruits, we pull data into a spreadsheet. This spreadsheet is called the Napoleon Bonaparte deck. So of conversion rate and data template, so you guys can go check that out in terms of what that is. Again, you can just request specific things which you want to see. So pages with a high bounce rate, products with low add to cart or PDP view rate. That's industry specific. Obviously, PDP is an e-com term, but for tech, similar thinking goes into tech. So a combination of different data sources that we have combined gives us a holistic picture of the user behavior on the site. In the GA, you see a high bounce rate. On the PDP, then you watch the Hotjar session recording to understand what is actually going on. Okay. Now, additionally, in combination with data from marketing gives us a deeper insight into user motivation, understanding about what actually motivates them to buy. So the more data that is collected, and there's a possible data mastery video, which I can do, like a little masterclass on data, if you guys want me to. Also, let me know in the comment section down below. The more data that is collected, the more possibilities we have in terms of analyzing and thinking big at certain points. We can use AI machine learning algorithms to do real-time personalization for every single user. But you don't want to sit here all day, going through this. So you want to automate the processes and leverage new technologies. So this is what we call the AI Quantum Leap Advantage. And we have built a software that connects basically GA, Shopify, and ChatGPT and other AI models into the process for the tools. Now, via the API, and it intersects all the important data points of the business, we can leverage this new technology to automate the data analysis and to maximize the efficiency. So for market and competitive research, we pull up every single aspect of the funnel. From the creative to the targeting to the pages to the user flow to the checkout emails, stuff like that, into flowcharts, which we enable us to use cutting edge, basically insights, and to get ahead of the competition and to stay ahead of some big dogs. For example, like Stripe is a breakdown that we did not too long ago, and I decided, okay, why not just share this here in terms of how we came about seeing what happens there. So then you have but basically, to make my point, you will see everything that they're doing in terms of a digital perspective. So understanding AI and the leverage. So we have capital and AI, media and people. So we when we're building systems, we are really pushing towards understanding how to use these 5 different sets of leverage in a more efficient way, in an AKA systemized way. Now, that is so that you can reach the point where you don't have to push all the buttons. That's the point of systems, right? Now, leveraging AI is crucial in efficient managing customer data and gaining a deep understanding of the target audience and the market. Using this, we can quickly process large volumes of data, segments, customer base on their behaviors, their preferences, and uncover hidden patterns and trends. So we have leveraging AI for building, leveraging AI for sales, leveraging AI for marketing. There are so many different tools that are actively being built for these different verticals. However, what I always recommend someone is that if they're getting into AI or if they're really trying to focus on understanding AI, is you want to focus on a specific, call it vertical, or a specific area where you will either apply AI or learn how to use it, because you competing with something like ChatGPT is just not going to happen. And so you can either come up with a unique way to use it, or a unique way to basically, build on top of it, or a unique way to either use it, leverage it in some form of a way. However, AI is a big buzzword. AI goes many different directions. So also, if you guys want me to make a video about that, I can also unpack that. So leading to a comprehensive data driven understanding of your target audience, enabling you to tailor your marketing and product strategies to better basically resonate with your customers. So then we have a deep target audience and understanding of social. This is what we call, in this next step, is social engineering. So to deeper the target audience understanding to achieve you can achieve this through AI-powered data analysis from the basis of optimizing the entire customer journey. And I want to show you basically how we want to combine the qualitative and the quantitative data points and scientific-based methods to get a deeper understanding about the most important factors of the customer. So basically why they buy, their motivations. So you guys can go and check this stuff out. I mean, this is what I call the wheel of emotions in terms of different things in terms of how dopamine, testosterone, oxytocin, and all these different things, what they have an effect with the coloring schemes of different things also. I mean, that's one application of it. But if you actually zoom in here, you can see obviously, where some of these things will lie, right? So for an example, let's zoom in here. So you can see, so that is, okay, I forgot I put this in a different language, but the whole point here is that you have the creativity, flexibility. This is different areas where obviously the dopamine gets released, the effect that it has on human behavior, and also the coloring when it comes to different personality types. So you will see, as I will break this down a little bit better, it will make a lot more sense. So there's a video on modules in our internal training program where I'll be breaking down these in terms of the limbic map and basically the motive compass. This is basically what this is in terms of that. But again, there's a specific video that I will be releasing about that. And then you have the personality types, right? So you have blue, green, red, and yellow. I mean, there's probably more books on this, but there's a really good book I read not too long ago, and it broke down the bits and pieces of this, but we already studied, some of these components as we've built this in. But if I remember the name, I'll maybe put it down in the description down below. So the second most important factor is why they don't buy. Okay, so based on the data, you can derive their fears, their uncertainties, their doubt, and this tells you how you need to position the product for the highest conversion possible, and it tells you which psychological triggers to use with the target audience. So there's also another like a SOP that we have here for the limbic triggers and the correlations with that. Just request it down below if you want to see it. I mean, I quickly open it here just to show you on the example what we're looking at here, just so you guys can see that. But yeah, let's go back here. So anyways, so that we use in formulating what I call a new world edge in between human behavior and, stuff like that. So when we're looking at the actual applied consumer psychology, I mean, whether, you find this funny or not, it happens. So current situation is brand operators change stores or landing page or website or whatever. I've seen a lot of guys that build websites for people will do this, but a lot of them will use a copycat principle, basically that they will look at competitor sites and copy design elements without knowing whether their competitor has tested the design elements or not. You also have the Hippo principle. You have basically a supervisor specifies changes purely based on their preferences. A lot of this happens from the CEO component without them knowing the real impact that will have. Shiny object syndrome, teams or executives jumped onto the latest trend or tool or new thing that is coming out, or another AI thing is coming out. But yeah, so then you have the cognitive overload. I mean, I'm not going to go through all of these. I'll just briefly scrape them, okay? You have something like the cognitive overload effect. You have the endowment effect on exploitation, free trial, that kind of stuff. And you have social, I mean, take a minute, pause, read through these. I highly recommend them. Okay, you have the social proof overkill. You have the scarcity pressure misapplication. Then you have the choice supportive bias neglect. And then you have the paradox of free misunderstanding. So here's the better way of doing this. So you want targeted group analysis is to use roughly to determine which user segments are attracted to your store or your brand or whatever to your tech business through marketing. Okay. So based on the target group analysis, the behavior patterns with the highest conversion rate probability are determined and tested. Through test results, we determine the actual performance of behavioral patterns for the targeted group. Now, based on the performance of the behavioral patterns, we get to know the target group and increase the probability of winning future tests. We learn more and more about what works and what doesn't, okay? So to basically, have more efficiency throughout that process. So feedback loops and upward spirals, obviously what you want to be having, and the move to move faster and the better, it's not just always about speed, but always about, understanding your direction where you're going into. I hear a lot of guys speak about speed, and I know speed is important, but when you're going into the wrong direction, it doesn't matter how fast you're going. So the faster the performance of the business can increase if you can have a better, faster feedback loop process, right? Now, I added a bonus here, something called implicit response testing, and I decided not to go into a deep dive of it because I don't want to make this video too long. So you guys can go through IRTs. It's also an added bonus, so just maybe, pause the video here, read it, maybe look up IRTs. There is a deep dive on IRTs, which I will also leave in the description down below. Very important. You guys can go check that stuff out. So phase 2 here, we have full funnel conversion optimization. So the purpose here is to maximize the conversion at every stage of the funnel and create a seamless customer journey, something which I call a holistic funnel approach. Optimizing the website or the lander and building a better mousetrap. So outcome here is we increase the conversion rate and we improve customer experience and a stronger brand positioning. So you have your low-hanging fruits, you have your product market fit 2.0 friendly offer, landing pages, pre-sale pages, whatever. And then obviously you have your full funnel CRO and your branding optimization, that kind of stuff on the UX UI component. So we have the low-hanging fruits. We want to identify wins early on, easily to implement to gain that momentum, okay? And have that impact on the conversion, make some money so you can, move faster, that kind of thing. So based on potential ROI and ease of implementation, also another SOP, which you can request, where we will go over some low-hanging stuff. I just don't want to click it right now, but there's some really good stuff in there where we go over all sorts of triggers and different things on the psychological components. And then you have your product market fit 2.0, cold friendly offer. Let's quickly dive into this first, actual, case study, which we'll quickly break down in application. So refine product market fit based on a deeper target audience understanding and develop a compelling cold friendly offer that resonates with customers and obviously drive conversions. That's where we are in this application on the Timon Creek case study. Obviously, if you guys go and backtrack on a few things, this is one of the recent funnels that are still running in terms of stuff that's happening. And also there's always iteration in terms of offer, video sales letter, stuff like that. I'm not here to tell you about a VSL and stuff like that, right? You already know that. So when we're looking at these things, what we're really looking at is in terms of the execution plan that we always follow, okay? So as you see here, let me personally help you to make 10K per month and share my blueprint that I use to build a 7-figure personal brand. So that's just one little claim, okay? But how do we get to stuff like that? So market identification and validation. You have the N is the T is the P. The N is the T is the P. So determine the niche, the transformation, and the price. So the mechanism validation, which is the M, identifying the mechanism used to deliver the transformation and the resulting contribution. And then you obviously have the access channel validation, which is the A, which is the find the traffic conversion mechanism combination that resulted in a profitable unit case. So let's quickly look at the buyer persona. So buyer persona number one is people who want to increase their following or become influencers or content creators in the creator economy and or grow their personal brand and learn how to make more than $10,000 a month consistently with a internet-based business, okay? So then we have buyer persona 2, creators that want to refine an edge and crack the code. So these are usually some guys that already made money. I mean, there's been a lot of people that we work with that already were running 6 to 7 figure businesses, and then some higher, level players that also came through that just really are starting to understand the importance of why all these business gurus or people are posting all of this content, what their actual intent is behind this, what that actually does to the business in terms of, looking at from an acquisition perspective, looking at from a business perspective, what that relationship actually is like, right? There's been these guys that also came through. They started to understand what the personal brand actually means. And so we worked on that, right? So transformation here, we want to figure out the most effective way to blow up on social media in 2024 and 2025 beyond. And what's working right now, that's obviously the promise, the claim, personal brand, understanding how brands align effectively and monetize your audience correctly, which is another big thing. There's been many people that came through there that were stuck on a certain MRR multiple, and we obviously needed to help them, grow, consistently keep moving, monetize better, figure out how to actually step into the business perspective better for the business case. So the price was dictated based on this. So the price of the transformation is set on a high ticket, anywhere between $2,500 to $10,000, depending obviously on the offer. And then we have the mechanism validation. So let's quickly look at this here. So mechanism, gifted, accelerator 2.0, and the Timon Crick blueprint, also known as the Gifted Academy. Now, the blueprint is something which you will see as a protocol or a course on showing you exactly how we went from 0 to 2.5 million in audience and a 7-figure business in less than 12 months. Now, the access channel validation, a main push channel was Facebook and IG. So this is on an organic perspective. And there, here and there was some ad campaigns also ran for customer acquisition. So they have main pull channels was basically personal brand at that perspective. There were no other pull channels involved. And then obviously secondary push channel. I blanked it out because it's an iteration there where you want to understand basically in terms of like why the personal branding was working and why we didn't have to engage with anything else. I mean, you can run something like Google ads, stuff like that. That's basically, in perspective what you could do there. So winning angles, basically how this kid from Africa built a 2.5 million audience and a 7-figure brand in less than 12 months. And then traffic conversion mechanism, we have a full, referring to it as a holistic funnel perspective. You guys can still go check it out there also on the Gifted Academy. So profitable unit case here. So very, very weirdly profitable business model. Gross margins anywhere between 80 to 90%. 90% in terms of where it was because of the personal brand. Like cost per acquisition just went like, it just dumped. And then there you'd have to spend less money on ads basically, and you just keep getting leads. You just keep getting leads and leads and leads. So that's obviously what you're looking at there. So a solid conversion rate in relation to the CPA front end, weirdly profitable, as I said, and obviously transitioning all around, traveling all around the world, stuff like that. And CPA becomes dirt cheap, capital efficient growth, and escape velocity for the founder. Now, called friendly offer application. Let's go through the Shuggy luxury dating application here. So the niche is a successful guy or beautiful girl, guy that already made some money, that kind of stuff. In terms of how this is applied in this dating perspective, okay? Girls always optimize from an evolutionary perspective for resources. And whether we want to agree or disagree on that, again, maybe let me know in the comment section down below. But anyways, successful guy, beautiful girl, whatever the situation might be, to find an attractive partner. Females, again, want to find a successful guy, resources, yada, yada. So time is money for these people, and they don't have the time to play around on Tinder. Okay, so that's why you have a luxury dating angle and a different business model that exists. So also, people are getting tired of judging based off of face value. I just fully understand this because we've done so much market research and so much in-depth analysis on what's currently happening with companies like Tinder and stuff like that to really understand the positioning of this company. People are really getting tired of swiping and doing that stuff, okay? So the price for this transformation is set at $99 as a premium monthly subscription. The mechanism is basically access to top 1% males and females, and obviously better functional accessibility to get noticed faster, okay, because you already done some work to get some resources somehow with whatever businesses that you run. So then you have the traffic conversion here. We had the mechanism is we're using a quiz also throughout this process as a creative that is based on the current social media narrative and pushes the traffic to a unique landing page. So there was obviously ads and stuff and so forth, but then there was a Quizzier, stuff like that, landing page. We will talk a little bit more about this in later application. So when I will break down the fuller case study, but again, moving over to the next one here, we have the testing of the price. So S Innovation Summit here is one of the recent case studies. We also got Ubuntu. Obviously, have done a lot of work on the brand positioning where they are, the work that they've done, but we just allowed them to obviously hit their record, yearly sales and stuff like that. So you can also go maybe check out the Figma, maybe just request a Figma here. I can share the Figma with you where we designed a few things there. So however, this was after scenario in terms of what they were looking at, just a quick view of that. Now you want to make sure that you have the right price point. However, sometimes people just, again, go like this or look at, other people in their market in terms of, what they are pricing, and they'll be like, oh, this is industry standard, I need to price this much. And that's not the right way to go about pricing. And the campaign focus, basically what you want to have the campaign focus on who you are targeting. If you have multiple buyer personas, you want to do the following because they had many buyer personas. So number one, you want a thorough personal research and segmentation, or persona research and segmentation, okay? You want to have tailored messaging and content. You want to have consistent brand voice and flexibility, and prioritization and resource allocation, integrated market strategies, and utilization data, and obviously an analytic part of things, right? Now, so in this case, we had three main, obviously, passes that are being sold in different tiers. So therefore, you then will need specific messaging that is tailored to three specific, components, guiding them through a purchase decision. So finding the sweet spot is what your consumers want and need, basically, right? So it's about being able to actually articulate that. Now, let's have a quick look here at the full website plus funnel CRO component. So analyze the entire customer journey to identify conversions, bottlenecks, opportunities for optimization, and then implement the data-driven strategies to optimize each stage of the funnel from awareness to purchase to retention. Right, so let's quickly look at this. I'll quickly zoom in here for 1 second here. So strong hero section in terms of this here, we have the social proof component. We have a value proposition on there. And then we have obviously a countdown timer. There's a few psychological things that happen when people see countdown timers. Actually really cool. You need to actually go and do some deeper research on that. I would highly recommend that. And then you see actually specific deals here, how we position and had that there. We had some trust and credibility elements sprinkled. And then also communicating who this is for. I see a lot of people miss this component when they're putting stuff together, not really being able to communicate to the actual person, having this disconnect in between their ad to landing page and stuff like that. So those are things that we can obviously look at from that perspective. So let's quickly look here. I broke it down a little bit better here, just in terms of the sales page, what the sales page actually looked like. We had the relatability effect here with seeing other humans on stage, getting advice, being in that environment, fostering social identification, and also understand that this is a technology summit, the biggest technology summit in Africa, basically. So the identification and belonging is also super important here when they can see the relatability effect and increase emotional connection. Then you have the future pacing effect, which is obviously, strengthening memory and recall in terms of seeing visual components of it, video, that kind of stuff too, engaging with many sensory kind of so taste, touch, feel, all these different kinds of things. So we have compelling storytelling. We have, obviously you create a sense of presence and immersion. That's a video that's actually on there. You guys can see it's still on the website. Show and communicates the desired outcome, the quantum leap to advantage to the entrepreneurial lifecycle. Why? Because in this case, it's entrepreneur and funding. People that have money, people that have idea. People that have capital, people that have idea. That's what basically happens. A lot of networking, right? So looking at here, I broke a few more things down. So just sit with me. We're almost at the end. So triggers are positive brand associations. We have trust, credibility badges, instant credibility and authority, leveraging social proof, enhances perceived quality, simplifies decision-making, and reduces the cognitive load, obviously, right? We have, something I refer to as the TikTok brain, which a lot of people have right now, and they don't want to think a lot about stuff. They just want to be able to, make a TikTok-based decision, quick, easy, makes sense. Okay. So that's, where we're leaning towards. So product pages that mimic sales pages. Okay, you guys can obviously also go check that out there. I mean, maybe I'll leave this link down below to their current website and stuff. Anyways, so cart, or if you want to refer to this as a checkout section or a cart section or whatever, I just try to blend in both terminologies for some people that might be into ecom, but ways to improve conversion in your cart drawer. So for SA Innovation Summit, we had to engineer the checkout like we would usually do for insurance companies or stuff like that we've recently worked with not too long ago, because you have to understand that when someone lands on there, they just want to see, it's like 1, 2, 3 steps. I'm going to take me 60 seconds to do this. Okay, fantastic. I can do this in my lunch break real quick. I have a few minutes. You know, that's usually how people think about things like this, because they will leave it, you know, if it's something like a conference, to the last day before they will sign up. That's why you'll see something like conferences on the last day or the second day, sales go absolutely bonkers through the roof. It's because people are like, oh man, I might be missing this thing out. And that's where FOMO actually really kicks in, because then you're like, oh, I knew about this, but I didn't take action. But anyways, so now we know that, basically, just coming back to the thesis, now we all know for that to happen, you have to have build a shitload of trust and credibility into the market to actually be able to, you know, get someone to a cart, get them to check out, right? Doesn't matter if they're buying shampoo or if they're buying a $500 thing, okay? Now, reducing uncertainty and, well, predictability and transparency. Now, for CS, again, we have engineered the visuals to show a person how quickly, again, they can get easy access to it. It's something we have, you know, deployed in insurance, and it worked very well, and it worked very well here too. So giving people a sense of control and instant gratification, also reducing perceived waiting time, and triggers gamification effects. So a step-by-step process. That's why people love doing courses, okay? And love learning from gurus and whatever, because at the end of the day, if you can show someone a roadmap or a thing, they love step-by-step based information, and they feel more connected to it, and also easier to the point, which they know exactly what to do. So checkout pages. Make the checkout button prominent. It's just a few things. I'm just going to go quickly through them. Show a product thumbnail and details, highlight savings and discounts, include shipping, taxes, estimates. I mean, adding a progress bar, free shipping, that kind of stuff, where they can, it's like, I call it the Uber effect. I'm not even sure if I put it in here, but you know, one thing is super important about Uber is that they crack that effect where you can see the car, you know, so in psychologically, it triggers a bunch of stuff in your brain where you know that, oh, okay, I can see it. You have more patience because you can actually track it, and you know how long it's going to take, where ideally you were just standing on the side of the road, you know, waiting for a taxi or something like that, where you have unpredictability. So same thing here. Just go through all these different, you know, points here. They're all valid, all useful. So now, landing pages and pre-sale pages. Sometimes we design and optimize high converting landing pages and pre-sale pages tailored to a target audience segment. Landing pages designed specifically for a particular campaign, product, or promotion can provide visitors with a targeted and relevant experience. So tailoring the content for the landing page to the message of the campaign promotion with a clear call to action can attract more visitors. Now let's look at this. We have landing page example. So you want to basically also request this. Like I said, I linked it there, but just request it down below. I'll send it to you. It's going to be very important. I just leave it in the comment section. So basically, how do we get to this point here? So figure out which one we will be using. So a countdown timer is widely used, as I've mentioned, as a tool in marketing and sales to create urgency and influence consumer behavior. It works by leveraging key psychological principles that drive people to act quickly and decisively, okay? Now here's an explanation on consumer psychology behind the countdown timer. Again, I actually think I shouldn't go through all of this, because there are so much that you can, you know, have with the, you know, psychologically around it. But, you know, psychological principles, like humans tend to place higher value on things that are scarce, okay? And when people perceive that thing or your offer, like, it's just all about increasing perceived value on that perspective, because, you know, if it's limited, if it's scarce, luxury selling principles, they all apply there. So, and again, you get things of fear of missing out, loss aversion, anchoring bias that will be triggered with the countdown timer. So to summarize, a countdown timer strategically capitalizes on various psychological triggers such as scarcity, loss aversion, and FOMO, pushing consumers to make a faster decision, and it creates a sense of immediate importance or immediacy around their purchasing action. So let's quickly look at this. So create a targeted and personalized experience for different segments of the target audience. Personalization landing pages are ideally tailored to users' interests, preferences, and behaviors. So better alignment with ads and keywords using consistent messaging, designs, and keywords between your ad and landing page. Holistic approach. Messaging that matches increases relevance for visitors. Okay, look at this ad, okay, and then basically look at the relevance of what is mentioned in the ad. It is Buntu, which is the CEO of this company, as a thought leader as well, as a very known thought leader in the technology space, and then using his trust, his credibility as well with the copy, getting people over to a message that is not completely different, like we're trying to sell ice cream on the page. It needs to obviously align, and then that selling process there is what a lot of people usually get wrong, because their ads also, maybe their coloring is not even congruent, or there's things that can be obviously optimized throughout that process, right? So landing pages can be quickly created and quickly adapted to changing requirements, meaning you can easily adapt to a market trend, promotions, or other businesses' needs without affecting the main website or your online store. Now, pre-sale pages, sales pages, stuff like that. Let's quickly look at this. I took a screenshot just of this just to show the current one, which is there. Now, ideally, obviously, there was the countdown timer and stuff there, but obviously, these are all those trust thingies which we spoke about. Now, a sales page example here, which we're going to quickly go through here. So again, we're almost done. So you've made it this far, then you're a real G. So let's quickly look at this. So we have the sales page. Okay, so let's quickly go through this here. You guys can see the different components here, as we'll break down a few things now. Branding, optimizing UX and UI for the copy. Now, enhance website UX UI to create a seamless and enjoyable browsing and shopping experience. Align brand elements, including messaging, visuals, and tone with target audience preferences and expectations. Okay. Now, mainly online business owners or tech owners or whatever the situation might be have a great product. Most visitors are interested in the product and would benefit from the product. But unfortunately, the site does not manage to convince the visitors of the added value of the product because copy does not address the visitors, the site does not match the product in terms of design, or the site makes it unnecessarily difficult for the visitor to interact with it and get to the best destination. I've seen so many iterations of that, okay? It's actually funny sometimes. Anyways, so competitors with the inferior product convince potential customers with appealing design and at the same time can retrieve higher prices. Now, optimizing copy, UX, UI allow you to attract customers cheaper and more profit. Basically, you make more profit with them because you have a message that matches. So consistency and appealing with design strength and images, basically the potential for the brand ambassador to appear, who in return represents the brand and convinces the other potential customers to buy it, which is also personal branding component. Now, higher marketing capitalization and possibility to address all customer segments to earn money with customer segmentation and stuff like that. Again, you'll see before and after kind of stage here. I just literally took a screenshot of the Figma and I put it in here so you guys can see some iterations that were made. You guys also know now why. So phase 3 with rapid approach. Okay. So with the phase 3, with the rapid testing approach, we have the purpose is to quickly identify and implement conversion rate optimization, which is known as CRO, improvements to have the most significant impact to revenue growth. So the outcome is a streamlined data-driven testing process that leads to increased conversion rates and revenue. Testing, holistic CRO, rapid testing, strategy, iteration, feedback loop, right? Feeding it top of funnel. So testing program here is we have established a testing framework and methodology to prioritize and implement CRO tests, define key performance indicators and reach tests, and set clear goals and success criteria. Now, develop a testing calendar to ensure I conditioned the continuous flow of of tests and systemized approach to the conversion rate optimization. Now, testing velocity and testing success is important. How many tests we are to perform in a given time frame, and also what uplifts the achieved when the tests are basically successful, right? What is achieved when the test was successful? You need to understand that. So, and how do you keep applying on top of that? So then we're going to look at current market symptoms. So most founders and online business owners or agencies are really whack with this because, they don't know the right testing process, and they rely on old school A/B testing stuff, and they are using wrong methodologies to evaluate the results. Now, don't get me wrong, A/B testing still works in certain segments of things, okay? But there are other things which you need to pay attention to. So these tests, they are using wrong methodologies, as I've mentioned, to evaluate results and types of tests, to find the fit requirement, Okay, so multi-arm bandit test during BFCM, which is also now relevant, right? Making testing velocity, a testing and testing success work best for the use case. So now ultimately their results aren't reliable because they don't follow the statistical SOP to validate the results. Again, this thing here, very important, the statistical significance in A/B testing and stuff like that, which I will leave linked down below as well for you guys to see. Now, this is what it quickly actually just looks like: probability and statistical significance explained. I am not going to go through this in a deep detail. However, this leads to basically founders waste valuable resources to produce unreliable results with wrong A/B testing processes, which they implement on their store, believing that to increase their sales while actually decreasing them, which is a false positive. Okay. So most testing programs do not generate reliable data, and obviously they tie up unnecessary resources and are thus for the garbage can. So I'll link also maybe, in the future, as I was creating this thesis, I want to create a specific database training. Maybe one of our guys actually in the company will create that training. I don't know. He will probably be better than me to actually create that database training, but I will make sure that it gets made. Just let me know if it's actually something you guys want to see. So we always set up a proper testing program, so testing velocity to enable maximum number of possible tests on the store throughout the different testing approaches, sequential A/B testing, parallel A/B testing. So testing success, basically using insights from other points, targeted group analysis, a test with high win probability plus uplift probability. So throughout our approach, we get the maximum out of the testing and uplift, generating reliable results that the customers can rely on, making informed decisions for their business that it is based on, right? So now let's look at this real quick here. Holistic CRM approach, which I already shared a few input on that first screenshot of the Stripe. But here's another one for the true classics. Now, this is obviously an e-commerce brand, just to give you guys a perspective of what this would look like. I call this weekend fun, stuff that we will do on the weekend just for fun, right? So this is our CRO protocol template that we always use. So the CRO protocol template for Selfbuilt Systems, which you can go and check out here, is in that template. So now for the rapid testing approach here is we want to execute basically high impact tests while using agile testing methodologies and tools. Analyze results in real time to draw insights and make data-driven decisions. Iterate and optimize tests based on insights, ensuring continuous improvements and maximizing the impact. Now, let's quickly have a quick look at that, as this will be one of the last ones. So date lapse versus dating opportunity in terms of, running a few tests and stuff on here. So these are two different offers that will lead to the same closing point. But yeah, you can see here as it is differentiated through different archetypes of customers and stuff like that, personas. And here we showcase desired outcomes of users in the form of before and after states, increasing user motivation to buy product. So obviously you'll see it if you go to the landing page actually, in terms of understanding that people want to see that they can already have their dating app or their product in a turnkey system format, without having to go and raise millions of dollars to build their dating app. Endless possibilities for them to see how many different products can be actually created. And here we showcase the desired outcome of the users in the form of, again, before and after states. So the current results that show the second variation is outperforming on the control. That's what we basically saw when we were running these tests. Okay, as of current update. So now phase 4, iterating growth strategies, purpose to continuously refine and optimize growth strategies, focusing on the acquisition, retention, decision-making processes, and brand value. So outcome, a sustainable and scalable growth strategy that leads to multiple 7-figure plus, 8 figures or whatever plus in revenue, while maintaining a profitability. Okay, so optimizing acquisition, optimizing retention, optimizing decision-making, and growing brand value, and having your exit structure. Okay. Sometimes when you're obviously building tech startup, and you're raising money, you want to, when you've approached investors and stuff, you already want to approach them with an exit plan, that kind of thinking. So optimizing acquisition. So analyze customer acquisition data to identify high performing channels, campaigns, and audience segments, refine targeting, messaging, and creative assets based on data-driven insights, and continuously test and iterate acquisition strategies to maximize ROI and reduce customer acquisition costs, also known as the CAC. So closely exchange learnings with performance marketing team, which we will go through in a few iterations of that segmentation. Know the impact of every change with empirical results because of the effects is directly measurable, and then have a certainty in decision making and get away from gut-based decision makings when it comes to your data. Okay, ads run better and get more engagement, lower CPMs and CPAs. So now optimizing retention. Now, this is obviously getting closer to the last pizza bits of what you need to do. So monitoring customer retention metrics such as repeat purchase rates and customer lifetime value to identify areas for improvement, development targeting strategies to increase customer engagement, satisfaction, and loyalty, leverage customer segmentation and personalization to deliver relevant and timely offers, content, and communications. So then you have community building. It's super easy and essential, obviously, in 2024 and 2025 moving forward. And here's a small example. Now, 1.1 million followers is obviously loyal fans. There are people that will not agree with what Timon says, and then there are people that will absolutely love it. However, online family, community, there are so many different ways to build this, right? Now, Timon, for example, can decide to sell socks tomorrow with some religious topic on it or whatever the situation might be, and then people will still buy it. Okay, so because that's his messaging, that is the stuff that he puts out, right? So at the end of the day, you already see here 11.4 thousand people in his online family. Okay, now that is just an indication of that. Now, obviously, this is growing very fast too, but the whole point is that there are so many different platforms that you can use to build an optimized community, stuff like School, Coursera. I mean, there are so many different ones. School is just specific for community-based stuff, and other tools, again, which you can go and look up that you can use. But anyways, optimizing decision-making, establish a data-driven culture that empowers teams to make informed decisions based on insights and analytics. Now, we want to implement a system for tracking and sharing key learnings across the organization, foster a culture of experimentation, learning, encouraging teams to test new ideas and to iterate on strategies. So having a systems and a data-driven approach to run experiments supports you to better basically the decision-making process, and you will have compounding effects, in the long term. So formulating an actual hypothesis is one of the biggest things that I see a lot of founders struggle with, or they just don't do it correctly. And if you take away one thing out of this video, if you forget AI, if you forget all of this stuff, if you can formulate an actual hypothesis, then you will crush, my friend. Like, that is what will happen. So let's look at this. Identify the problem or question. Formulate your hypothesis. Define the variables. Set up a control and environment or test group, basically, right? And then you want to establish a benchmark and success metric. Then you want to determine the sample size and the testing duration. You want to run the test, analyze the results, draw the conclusion, and do the iteration. So making bad decisions also compound over time and works against you, right? So let's look at it like this. The growing brand, if we get to the growing brand value and the exit structure mindset, you want to plan your exit strategy at the beginning of your business journey, like I've mentioned, right? It is essential to ensure a smooth and successful exit when the time comes. And it is important to identify your long-term goals and how you plan to achieve them through the sale or the transfer of your business. So having a clear and well thought out exit plan can help you make better decisions and increase the value of your business, basically, right? We want to establish the mindset early on that the decision-making process is laid out in the long term. So this is where we are right now, okay? So you can basically see that this is the part 3 of the growth model synthesis. Now, lots of content, and let's summarize this, okay? Because I know it can get a lot. It's been like probably an hour right now. So let's create, firstly, that what we're going to do is we're going to create the business development strategy. Then we're going to have a deep dive in understanding your data and your market situation. They're going to have a competitive advantage with consumer psychology application, fix all of the low-hanging fruits, fine-tune product market fit, optimize your complete funnel, run CRO program and test aggressively, rapid strategy experimentation, enable cross-organizational learnings and data-driven culture, optimize acquisition, again, grow brand value, reach escape velocity, establish trust, thank Selfbuiltsystems. Okay, so This is factually simple to get it working, whether you're producing 5, 6, 7 figures or whatever. We obviously, ideally work with 6-figure to 8-figure to 9-figure brands and situations. But however, when you want to cross the 7 to the 8-figure mark, we have, proven it, several times throughout our case studies and stuff like that. All you need to do is to complete the right steps in the correct order and ensure like customization, because what I've seen many times is that there is just simply a solving order that people seem to be missing when it comes to online stuff. So can smart founders do this on their own? 100%. However, with enough time and fuck ups along the road, the question will be, with how fast can I do this, right? Now, here's a quick little reality check. The question is, do founders want to make the right steps with luck for the next 12 to 24 months, or get the exact roadmap from us? Going from 6 to 7 to 8 figures to multiple 8 figures a year means moving from a centralized to a decentralized system, which I call the new model for the new world, 2024, 2025, right? The new model is moving towards building a value-based system and processes that work towards organizational success. Again, so let's break down the model for SaaS, e-commerce, service-based, or internet-based business down to the first principle. Now, the number one most important aspect of your business development strategy is understanding your unique growth model. You should always be in the responsibility of, basically, executive floor, meaning you as the founder have the responsibility to make these foundational decisions. With the overarching business strategy, each department has a clear responsibility and deliverables, which will look like this. So you have your business development, you have your acquisition, retention, product, R&D, operations, stacked, and the success of the organization is basically dependent on the contribution of each of these building blocks. You as the founder have the responsibility to create a unique growth model for your organization and make sure that all the roadblocks are contributing to the achievement of the business development roadmap. You cannot outsource this responsibility. You can only find support in a network of other successful founders who have already done it, or an external growth partner who can build strategies together with you and that are experts in building systems. With every building block, the question make or buy prevails. Do I create the playbook myself for maximum success for building blocks, or do I buy an actively external existing solution? So the Self-Built Systems way looks like this. Your POV is like this. Your brand is at 6 to 8 to 9 figures in run rate, and you make the smart decision to work with us. First, we start with an extreme deep dive into your data. The due diligence includes hard facts, but also soft sensations from the brand side to understand the history, the way of the business model, the products, and the constellations with external players. Our onboarding is so efficient that we are showered with praise from the day one in getting customers or clients rolling. So we believe in speed, as I've said, but direction first. So based on the facts, we build a projected idea state where we want to take the brand. We translate this wireframe of the scaled out business model into individual roadmaps. That is then the cornerstone of the future work and includes all relevant factors: high-level data analysis, branding and product strategy, offer strategy, backend processes, CRO protocol, landing pages, retention systems, branding and awareness, data-driven decision-making, AI infrastructure, etc. Right? Now, what we commonly see is everyone has their own struggles, and it's your own journey. Everyone's journey is different. However, there is a problem you will be facing, and there is a solution for everything in our network, which we have been building and established over the years. Now, obviously, this is Gideon. He was the head marketer at Whamly that we engaged with when we were working on sales process. I mean, there are so many different tech founders, VCs, growth partners, affiliates, all sorts of different things, which we have been able to connect and build up throughout this process, as you guys can see here, just on a few visual components. So what I've obviously already mentioned there, right? So here is your call to action. As a business owner, I am always looking to get the edge. I understand that. So we have had our own experiences with agencies, freelancers, and consultants. And what I can say is that vast majority of all agencies, consultants, and basically agency-based services are very terrible, okay? Really terrible. And at the end of the day, it all comes down to two things. Number one, making profit. And number two, fulfilling your vision. As the founder. Now, at Selfbuilt Systems, we are there to serve you in helping you reach both of them much faster. Now, to achieve this, we have invested thousands into educating ourselves on the art of direct response, consumer psychology, neuromarketing, with masterminds, consultations, seminars, you name it, we have done it. And we keep pushing to be great, as we are also students of the game of life and of business. So every single year we invest dollar into our own education, a lot of dollar into our own education, so that we can actually not just know what we're doing, but so that we can also keep producing those results. We want to become the #1 strategic growth partner for 7 to 9 figure brands, including technology and creator-based brands. Again, we have worked with other companies, but that is where we specialize in. That's where we focus on. And there is a definite way to fast track this. And if you want to talk with us, obviously set up a meeting. We can have a conversation about this, explore where this can go for us. Because we don't always work with all people that apply to work with us. Right now, we have an application form on our website, and that is how specific we are with the projects that we actually get engaged with. There is a waiting list, just so you guys know, just based on that note. So if that is something that you want to go check in, you guys can go check it out, or you can go book a call here. I will leave this link specifically for this video on the website. You won't find the book a call link. I will leave it down below in this video, and you can implement, you could implement the processes on your own alone, but you will make a lot of mistakes throughout this process. We all know how that goes, mostly due to a lack of insight or trying to master things in the wrong order. But you can do it with a much higher probability of success in a fraction of time. And we also believe that giving away our best stuff and basically charging for the implementation, right? Now, if you want to fast track, you can book a demo in this link will basically be in the description down below. And then, yeah, so to basically just wrap up this little thing, I just got 1 or 2 Q&As. What makes us different from other competitors, mostly agencies, consulting services or stuff like that, or coaching programs? We isolate for specific use cases, landing pages, A/B testing, and also technology and creator-based brands is where we focus on, okay? And our CRO audits are really advanced in terms of what I've seen, what we've developed throughout this process. And we believe that the time of isolated solutions is over, right? Single-ended solutions. And we believe in a holistic approach. So if you give away all of your content for free, what are we, getting working with you? So true to the motto, we give away all our best stuff, okay? And we sell the implementation. Like I said, we don't want to keep any information secret, but revealing everything we know from a transparency perspective to a knowledge perspective, SOP, stuff like that. So you guys can see obviously what it's going to look like when we're working together. Now, can I get some of your customer case studies or stuff like that? A lot of those case studies and stuff that we have, like I've mentioned, they're under NDA. There are some that we are able at liberty to share, but we also respect our clients and our customers. We don't just randomly give away their information. So unless it's super serious and we've had a conversation and we understand where things are going and you want to go and do the due diligence, more than happy to provide what we need to provide. So what does it cost to implement this with you? It is a premium price for a premium service. It's a 5-figure retainer for a minimum of 6 months. And we only work together with brands that are serious and growing for maximum long-term efficiency, okay? We do not get involved with people that want to sign something like a 3-month contract or a month test thingy. We've done that in the past, learned our lessons, and we've also evolved in terms of how we operate and what we do. So those are basically the terms thereof. So do you have a guarantee? You get a guarantee from me personally that going into this alone will cost you years and lots of sweat equity. So longer than working, and basically a lot longer than working with us throughout this process. And you will find, you won't find any provider that gets the same results in the same way that we do in the timeframes that we work with people. Okay, so if that's all that you needed to hear, my name is Jean-Jacques from Selfbuilt Systems, and this is the Selfbuilt Systems API Thesis. If you made it all the way to this last section, I salute you, my friend. You're going to crush it. I already know it. And go ahead, book a call. If you want to chat with me, one of our team members, we will sit down, we will analyze the situation, and we will show you the best path moving forward for what you can do with your current brand state or the idea where you want to take this. And we look forward to seeing you. And I also look forward to making more of these videos. So on a last note, do leave a like on this video if you enjoyed it. If you found value out of this video, leave a like. Let me know in the comment section down below. Was this too long of a video? What should I do differently next time? Give me some feedback. And as always, go out into this world, use this information, and make a difference in someone else's life. I will see you guys on the next one. Bye-bye.